Ah, what a great start to the international break. Arsenal are top of the league. And you know what? I will say this, the media are quite shameless from writing off our title chances to now we're the favourites and Liverpool are a team in the transition and all that jazz. Give it a week or two, people. We've got 31 Premier League fixtures or Premier League weeks to go, and they'll change their opinions. But it's nice. The last international break, we had to sit and wallow in defeat. This time, spirits are high. Obviously, I don't look at the league table, but we're top. We cannot get excited in October. There's many twists and turns, and we haven't made any ground on Liverpool per se. Hopefully, Liverpool continue to drop points and we get it done. But we're top of the table. The quest for the title still on. The manager's doing all the good things we like and tweaking the system and doing what he needs to do. Players are excelling. And the only thing I would say with Arsenal Football Club is, can we do better? Can we get more goals? We can't go back in time, but what would it have looked like if we got a point or three against Liverpool or City, really and truly? So, yeah. And clearly the major negative around Arsenal evidently is really, I don't want to go as far as say injury crisis, but it does feel like every week there's some new players injured. We know Jesus is out. We know Kai Havertz is out. Unfortunately, Odegaard's out. In my opinion, Rice will be okay, but you've got him. Hincapié. He's only played 6 minutes, still struggling, projected to be back. And yeah, man, we just need to get Gyokeres some goals because Benjamin Tesco is getting quite close to him, people. But other than that, it's all great, man. Obviously, we're going to see what's going on with the tabloids and all those things. At 4 p.m., you lot called for me to get Shirley back on the platform. She'll be there. And we haven't done a video on this platform in a while. So I'll get her thoughts on everything, really. I actually think Timber's, I don't want to say most underrated because he's getting his flowers now, but I think we give Timber his flowers. We say he's one of the best, if not the best, right back at the moment in world football / the Premier League. But the very fact that he's not been nominated for Premier League Player of the Arsenal's Premier League Player of the Month is a madness, in my opinion. Calafiori's doing his thing. Zubamendino's doing his thing. Eze's finally playing in midfield. Everything's great, man. SJ, big up yourself as well, man. Adrian, what are you saying? Arsenal draw with Fulham, Liverpool smoke United after the international break, fam. I hope we win. I hope we win because again, there's many twists and turns. In my opinion, specifically to Liverpool at Anfield, we failed that test. Disappointed not to beat City. But then I look at Newcastle. That is a team we kind of stumble, especially away from home. Well, to be fair, both. But we got over the line in that regards. West Ham, fair enough. They're in a different moment, but they're a team that has, kind of put the brakes on when we've tried to accelerate. We won that. Fulham away is another test. Fulham away, there's another Premier League game, but Crystal Palace, all the kind of games we've got, they are the teams where you think, oh, you know what, it might go a bit left. Hope we don't draw because they're the games that we need to keep winning. In fact, I'd say it's a bit weird under Mikel Arteta in that. Obviously, as a football fan or as an Arsenal fan or any football fan, I wouldn't say you're nervous of the big games, but you're nervous, you're excited, you're everything in between, in it. We kind of do better even when we drop points. We do better against the traditional top four, top six. It's the Fulham's away, it's the Newcastles. I know Newcastle's part of the top six, but them, West Ham, Crystal Palace, these games that give or take, Crystal Palace forms ridiculous, but on paper it should be a walk in the park. That's where we kind of stumble. And there's going to be hyper opinions with Arsenal, anyways, man. There was a lot said about us during preseason, a lot said, prior to, I would say, the Newcastle game. So like the 3 games after, well, Newcastle, Olympiacos, and obviously West Ham, the sentiments has quite changed. It won't surprise me if Liverpool if Liverpool win their next 2 games and we lose our next 2. We know how the hyper opinions are going to happen, and that's going to be here from now until May, if I'm honest with you. So it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon, man. Please make sure you're smashing the like button, join the conversation, all of that. Big up you lot tuned in. So should we see what's going on in the world of Arsenal? I do want to ask Arsenal fans as well. Let me know in the comments, or if you're watching this on a replay, who would you give player of the month? Well, our player of the season so far to? Again, we're only a couple of games in. I say that subjectively. For me, 2 fullbacks. Actually, I think I'd give it Timber. But I think Timber / Calafiori. After that, I think it's fair game. Like, I think Gabriel's been decent, but I think there's more to come from Gabriel Magalhaes. I think Saliba's been doing his thing, but I do think there's more to come from William Saliba. Raya probably deserves a bit of flowers. He's done his thing. Like, I think I can't demand anything more from Raya. I think I can't demand anything more at the moment from Timber or Calafiori. I think there's more to come from Gabriel, from Saliba, from Declan Rice, actually from Zubamendi, definitely Eze. Bukayo's been a bit stop-start with injuries, but yeah, him, Gyokeres 100%. So it would probably be for me, Timber, Calafiori. Obviously, adjusted expectations on all the players, in it. Respectfully, I'm going to demand a lot more from a Bukayo Saka than a Madueke, if that kind of makes sense. But if I had to say my 5 in no order, Timber for me, Calafiori. I'd say Raya, because whenever he's called into action, he's done his thing for us. And you know what? Yeah, a bit of a left field choice. I'll probably say Trossard and Martinelli just because they're in the roles that they should be, super subs. You know, they're getting numbers, they're doing what needs to be done. So maybe them. To be fair, obviously he's not really flavor of the month at the moment because he got hooked at halftime against Newcastle. But you could even throw Christian Mascara in there. But that just tells me there's a lot to come from the team, and I just want us to chase the lost points. That's why I guess for me on my channel, I've probably been a bit more upbeat because you're at a deficit in it when you lose to Liverpool because we're seen as the rivals. Actually, I think people are sleeping on City, and I still don't think they're in full gear. But I watched Brentford, Manchester City, and I think it's intriguing. Like, I just think the way Pep plays is intriguing. You got both fullbacks inverting what he does in midfield. Haaland gave that Van Den Berg a tough time for that goal he scored. I think there was more to come from Brentford. But yeah, who would your player of the season be so far, man? I'd give it Timber if I just had to pick one, man. Should we see what this in the Athletic has said in relation to Arsenal specifically? It's spoken about Liverpool. I mean, do you not agree that Liverpool have not managed to string together 2 or 3 consecutive good performances in their 11 games in all comps? They've got 8 goals scored in the 83rd minute or later. So that it wasn't sustainable, really, if that makes sense. But you can't write them off. But then if we look at Arsenal, as for Arsenal, they've clearly corrected their biggest weaknesses from last season's squad depth. During a fairly routine 2-0 win against West Ham United on Saturday, Mikel Arteta had the luxury of sending on the following 5 substitutes: Martin Zubimendi, Mikel Merino, Gabriel Martinelli, Miles Lewis-Skelly, and Ethan Nwaneri. Benjamin White did not get off the bench. Apart from the summer signing Zubimendi, and that's probably one of the downers because we have wanted to see one of Rice or Zubimendi, Eze and Odegaard, and that is what Arteta started. Unfortunately, Odegaard picked up an injury, and we had to we brought on Zubimendi, did quite well. We went back to kind of what we've seen. We wanted to see those horses for courses, I guess, people. But yeah, apart from summer signing Martin Zubimendi, the other 4 subs deployed were, pardon me, were regulars for Arsenal last year, starting 111 matches between them. It is another sign of the squad's continued evolution that Arteta picked almost his best available 11 to take on West Ham, and they were not in it. I agree and disagree because I do think there's some players that you could make a case of could be in Arsenal's strongest 11, but horses for courses, form, taking your chances. Like Miles Lewis-Skelly has done well in his minutes. He ain't put a foot wrong. It's just Calafiori's been superb. Benjamin White probably count himself unlucky. He's had some injuries and whatnot. Timber has been superb. Mascara's quality, unfortunately. And even if you did, which I think you just made a mistake against Newcastle, but even if you did have a tough day at St. James's Park, the good games to shaky moments ratio outweighs positively in it. But then you've got Saliba and Gabriel. And that's another thing I'd say. We've again, it's only a couple of games in, but we've done well with people being injured and just kept it moving and got points on the board. In that respect, Arsenal are better placed this season to challenge for the Premier League and Champions League, but can they win either if Viktor Gyökeres' numbers do not drastically improve? That's 6 games without a goal now for their new striker, who still looks awkward in this side. I disagree with that. I don't think he looks awkward in this side. I think I've seen first 3 games, I'd say yes. Even when we scored 5 against Leeds or Nottingham Forest, I think so, yes. But I do think, bearing in mind he never had a preseason, I've seen him get better every game. And I think at the minimum, I think you fitted in. I think you're doing well with the general play. I actually think you're not selfish enough, Gyokeres, which is a gift and a curse because we all know with a striker, we only really were interested if a striker, whether that was going to be Gyokeres, Sesko, Watkins, Isaac, whoever was going to arrive. We know you have to do the general play. Long gone are the days of strikers just standing up front. Even Haaland, like every week you watch City, whether he scores or not, he does do his bit in all aspects. He even helps out a lot defensively, as shown against us and Brentford, right? But I think you can do all of that. We needed goals. And I think sometimes he's involved in the build-up play for moves and he's not on the end of it. And I think one thing that I think our wingers and other players are benefiting from is the centre-backs are attracted to Gyökeres. And how many times have we sat here and said, playing up front in the Premier League or in today's day and age, it's a selfless task in itself because you're going to be occupied by 9 times out of 10, like you've seen with Gyokeres. You played a black 3 against Man United, stubborn unit against Newcastle, Manchester City, you knew you weren't really going to get change, all of those kind of things, really. So it's, you're the sacrificial lamb. You bring people into play that our wide men can benefit from or late midfield runners. I will say this, though, in the 3 games, so that, like, I feel there's times we've not found Gyokeres. I still think we can create more tap-ins for him, like against Nottingham Forest. I do think there's those kind of things. Maybe we could break a bit quicker. But that is probably, and I'd also give him the tax of last season we were saying the same things about how we're attacking. So that would be my thoughts with Gyökeres from the Manchester United game, literally until kickoff against Newcastle. So yeah, so just park that off on one side. Pardon me. I do think, like I said, that's kickoff with Newcastle, isn't it? Well, that's up until kickoff. So if we assume that we've now played Newcastle and we played West Ham, obviously Olympiacos, the only thing I'd say is, can we create more chances? But I think you've had opportunities and you've not taken them. I don't think Gyökeres, well, you've got to be strong, you've got to be strong mentally to be a big player for any team, innit? And we knew you put on the number 14, everything that's said about what you've done for Sweden at Coventry, even signed by Brighton and what they do. All of those things. 1 minute you're a hero, then you're not. Everything is going to be hyper analyzed. I think Gyökeres is never, people need to accept, he's never going to be the most aesthetically pleasing. He's not going, I wish I could combine Gabriel Jesus' playing style with this guy's prowess of scoring goals. It's ugly, isn't it? Like, it's not that. But we just needed to put the ball in the back of the net. I think he doesn't look like a stranger anymore. I think he fits in, but yeah. And when the fact that, like, 6 games for strikers, people, you don't know strikers, they're weird. Like that 6 games without a goal. I'm not saying you're down on the dumps and all of that kind of stuff, but that is gonna play on that has to be playing on your mind. Now, on one hand, I'm sure Gyökeres, the manager and the players recognize your contribution, you're getting involved in the general play, you're doing your part, but we do need you to score because it is gonna play on your mind. Strikers are weird. If he had 6 in 6, a striker might score 2 games in a row, and then the third goal, he might not even try and score. The defender might try clear it, it cannons off his ear and goes in. And likewise, when you're not fit and firing, you are thinking too much. Opportunities that it's on your left peg, bang, gone. You might take 2 touches, you might take it a bit more out wide, you might think too much about the runs you're making, etc. And I do think there was an incident. Odegaard tried to find him, Eze tried to find him, but there was an incident against Olympiacos here where Martinelli should have found Gyökeres, and also Gyökeres should have found Martinelli. And I wasn't fair, if I'm in the sense that I still maintain Gyökeres should have passed the ball, but I think he's catting to score a goal because I think he knows you shouldn't go for the shot and things of that ilk. So we're gonna have to find a way. I don't want to hear nothing about Arteta didn't want him in the scouting department, bro. You clearly did. What do you mean? We've not signed strikers several times when we didn't. Cool, Sesko could have been first choice or whatever. You never signed him. You clearly had Gyökeres on some sort of scouting list. There's more to come from this lad. What I will say is, though, I think I'm gonna criticize you, and like every player, praise and critique day in, day out. And I will give you the luxury of it. It's your first year, first 6 months, all of that. But you see, if we're still saying these things come next summer, it's not that I want Gyökeres sold or gone. You can be part of the squad. Upgrade on that though, like find the next one. Like I don't want to be, for me, I don't want to go into next season with all of this. You can be part of the squad, you can be the number 2, you can mix and blend and whatnot. Go and find one, because I must admit, but my bias is towards, like, forget the obvious with a striker, but like the Isaacs and the Hugo Kitikes and the Gabriel Jesuses, I think there's scope for another striker in this team anyways. I know Marino's up there, Kai can be used there and whatnot. I genuinely think there's scope for another striker as part of the squad. 1,000,000%, 100% there's scope for a left winger. And again, day 35 now of asking Arsenal to sign Semenyo. Like, you saw his goal from the acute angle the other day. So yeah, I think we can sign a striker, left winger. It's probably just me, and I know you've got Kai Havertz, you've got Marino, you've got Declan Rice, you've got Zubamendi, you've got Norgard. You could throw in the Odegaards, the Nwaneris, the Ezes, people that can play and occupy, midfield roles, maybe even Trossard in the 10. I do think there's scope for an 8, a Santi, a Cess, someone that the closest we get to that is Zubamendi, and I think there's someone we can kind of do something in that regards, people. But yeah, again, it's early days. So I don't agree with the Gyökeres looks awkward thing. I think his playing style is awkward. I don't think you look awkward in the team. It don't look like 10 players plus Gyökeres. You look like you're part of the team. Again, it's early days, but Gyökeres is meant to be the difference maker for a team who has not had a 20-goal Premier League striker since Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang left in 2022. That will need rectifying before we can properly endorse Arsenal's credentials. And you know what? Injuries are not good, but I do think in terms of you adapting, Kai Havertz's injury has probably been the best thing for you because you've been exposed to significant minutes. But I will say this, there's obviously things Kai can help us with across this season. Arteta doesn't need to be asked twice to deploy Kai Havertz in the starting 11. Gyökeres, I don't want you to miss out. I don't want to have those kind of conversations, if I'm honest with you. So, yeah, City's problem is that they only have a number 9 scoring. Boy, fair enough. When you got Haaland, you can have that. They showed competence and still to move within 3 points of leaders Arsenal, but again, that's about City people. So it is what it is in that regards. You would have seen last night, and big up to you lot who watched the video. Turn your notification bells, man. Odegaard unfortunately has suffered an MCL, a ligament injury, people, a medial collateral ligament injury to his left knee, and has been withdrawn from the Norway national team for the upcoming matches. Odegaard will continue to be assessed and treated by Arsenal's medical team at obviously London Coley during the international break, with the aim of a return to action as soon as possible. That was also confirmed on Arsenal.com last night as well, people. He did sustain that after a little coming together with Somerville in the game against West Ham. As my guy H just said, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss streams or uploads. I'm actually more sympathetic to Kai now. They don't play forward football. I missed the 2 seasons ago with offensive goal scoring. Same. I don't want us to go the other way, though, because I do think that season that everyone's referring to, we look at it with roastings. I think yes and no. But if we look at it, when we look at that year, there's only 2 things we talk about from that year, innit? That was obviously we didn't win the title, but we was fighting for the title and we was playing great attacking football. Football's decided at both ends. What I mean by we look at that year with roastings, we played good on the transition. Odegaard was scoring. Jesus was finding some goals, struck up a great relationship with Martinelli, also bagged. We were doing what needed to be done. But we did look at that season with knife edge. Like how many times that we might play blisteringly good in the first 20, 45 minutes and put the teams to bed 2-0 or something like that. Not that that's putting someone to bed. Second half's on knife edge. Ramsdale's having to do a madness. So for me, I can only speak for myself. Mikel Arteta, everything we do defensively, not just organic defending, the time wasting, the build-up play, our shape when we've lost the ball, how we press, keep all of that, yeah? Keep all of that. But just put down the handbrake. And in these last 3 games, West Ham, Newcastle, Olympiacos, I won't even quite say you put down the handbrake. And I feel there's more to come, but I think there's balance. You're doing all your defending things, but you're just letting the players play ball. This is kind of what I want to see. I'm not an idiot. Of course, sometimes we might have to go even more attacking. We might have to be hella defensive. There is going to be times where either in-game or starting games, you might have an ugly kind of 11 on paper, like Merino might be up front, Kai's in midfield. It's just one of them that gets the job done. But I still maintain, though, obviously Gyökeres has to answer ideas, but I genuinely thought this, whatever striker rocks up, I don't think we've been the greatest in the final third. I think Arteta's showing he's trying to rectify it, but we've not been the greatest in the final third. So regardless of how much I want to hold Gyökeres accountable, if I've seen a man bag for Coventry, bag in the champs and in Portugal with Sporting, bag for Sweden, why has it got to be us that there's acting? Now, obviously, teams mark us a bit better, all of these things, but this is why, for me, we need to get that left wing sorted, because I want the best of both worlds, man. If you've got Saka doing what needs to be done, we know what Saka brings to the table. If you've got Gyokeres, who's good for double figures, Eze, the only thing I would say of Eze, I can't lie, a little bit of shooting practice, because you should have 2 and 2. But them lot and all the players that are on the bench, the Martinellis and Trossards, if they were getting numbers, great. But specifically to our starting 11, if you've got Saka with inevitability, if you've got that left-hand side locked down, think Mane and Salah, you got that. Gyokeres is not, we need goals, but I think we're missing a trick there, man. And even left-hand side, we've got 2 new options that can play there that weren't there last year in Madueke and Eze. But Eze, Madueke, Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, Martinelli. I might be missing out on 1 or 2 players, but that shows good depth. And across the course of a season, it is what it is. But for 30 of those 38 games, yeah, who is the one you put your hat on? Like, who is the one, even if, because it would be Eze, right? Or maybe Madueke. Who do you see as that long-term left mid? And that's the only thing I think we could have done more in the summer beyond the obvious, man. But I hear you. DJ, I'll be honest. The expression on Saka's face when speaking to Gyökeres before taking the pen was concerning. I know we want to be positive, but it's just my honest opinion. I can't lie to myself. What's your thoughts? Forgive me, yeah? But what face? What look? Like, respectfully, like, let me know what look. Because I'm not saying you do this, but I do think football fans, you look at a man's face, we try and analyze things and do all of that. Like, what look? At the end of the day, yeah, it's not Saka's team, but he's not big homie because Gyökeres is older than him, but he's big homie. Like, Saka's one of our more consistent and reliable players. It's 1-0 at that moment in time. If Saka misses it, then you have to hold that. And obviously, Gyökeres probably should have had a penalty against Newcastle. He scored against Leeds. But, bro, if Saka felt he could do the job, go do your thing. That was a man that you're in a better moment. Gyökeres, you're doing all right, but you ain't scored in 5 games. What if you start being nervy? It's 1-0. We needed that kind of cushion in it. So for me, boy, Saka, if you missed, then I'm saying, yo, I did Gyökeres take it. I don't really care about people's individual feelings when we're discussing the collective. Saka stepped up, took it, can relax a bit. We're getting the 3 points. Now we can start, if it was 3-4, then cool. But, it weren't a charity case like with Kai. If Gyökeres wanted it, should have bullied it. Saka wanted to do it, and I understand it selfishly for Saka. You want to take on responsibility. You want to get goals, and you've been kind of starved of that. You want to. It's your 200th game in the Premier League. You're the captain. You're wearing the armband. Oh, just put the ball in the back of the net, man. But I did think Gyokeres was our new pen taker. But maybe it's a thing where, Saka takes it until he misses, isn't it? So yeah, man. It seemed like he was a bit feisty, like, bro, let me just take it, man. I hear that, but that's what I'm not being funny. Like a little attitude, you don't think? No, I don't think there's attitude. I'm not saying you're saying this, Riz, yeah, but we gotta remember this is football, bro. Like, this is football. There's testosterone there, bro. Put the ball in the back of the net, but this ain't little kiddies football. Everybody gets an opportunity type of thing. Like, bro, just put the ball in the back of the net. Now, when the collective has been done, like 3 points in the bag. Now I can say, oh, could Gyökeres have done it? It was not that thing. If you missed, then I'm with you. But I definitely don't think that. Like, if he wanted to take it, innit? Like, man are not friends, bro. Like, obviously your friends and camaraderie and that. Put the ball in the back of the net. I'm not that I want to use Chelsea, but I've seen must-win games. Remember when Chelsea had Drogba and Lampard and they were fighting? They were winning Premier League titles. I've seen them go into games in decisive parts of the season where the games are heated and it's on knife edge. It's a 1-0 thing. They're fighting for the Premier League, but also Drogba, who's like Lampard, a very good penalty taker, also chasing the golden boot. I've seen them man fight over it and Lampard saying, "Now forget that. I don't care about your thing. I want to take this pen." So I wouldn't say that's concerning. Like, bro, man are not friends. I'm not saying you, but I do think some football fans, when they see players arguing or they hear there's fights in training or things like that, this is football. When the game's done, oh yeah, in the change rooms, oh yeah, Saka did me dirty. I'll get the next one. You're pussy over that one. But we got the 3 points. We're laughing. So yeah, man. Real talk. If you want the pen, fight for it or sit down. Yeah, make a scene, bro. But I understand it, Gyökeres. Like, you don't want to make a scene. There's a power dynamic, bro. It should be feisty. This is Arsenal Football Club. It's Premier League. Man should be feisty. So Campbell and Jens Lehmann have won the league on the pagans' ground. Like Spurs, they've won the league. They're complaining over a set piece. I want that. I want people to go. If we go to war with each other, then the league don't have a chance. I don't think there's egos and things. I just think man want to step up. So I hear it, but we're slightly nitpicking, man. We're nitpicking. And for someone that, like, looking at my face, I always get called grumpy or I don't smile and things, especially girls in raves. And why are you frowning? You don't look happy. I'm happy. So I try not to read too much into people's facial expression. You don't know. I'm not giving up on Gyökeres. SLD, stop your nonsense, man. He's got 3 goals. People make out like he's 007, like Verts or Sesko. Sesko bust case, though. Teta needs to play to our striker. I still think we could create more chances for him, but the last 3 games, as I said, I don't think that's an excuse. I think the prior games, he'll get your chances, man. And again, I wish you got the penalty. Because I reckon you would have taken it and bagged against Newcastle. It weren't to happen. I think West Ham, I don't think he had opportunities to score like that, but definitely Olympiacos and Newcastle. He'll get his goals, man. He'll get his goals. But I don't want to see my strikers gone 6 games without scoring. But if my strikers gone 6 games without scoring, there's injuries. And we've just been keeping it moving and points on the... I'm off this. My thing is this year. You look, no, I love the young players. I'll always fight for Miles Lewis, Skelly, Nwaneri to play. I'll always want everybody to get certain minutes and I want Gyökeres to get goals. But my thing is the collective first. What are we trying to achieve this season? That's silverware. We hope we bring home we hope we win everything, but we hope we bring home the League Cup. We hope we bring home the FA Cup. Everything's a priority, but Champions League and Prem is the bread and butter. That will get people to shut up. That will get our people to allow him and whatnot. That's our thing. Like, it's 3 points first. Everybody's individual case second. Get me the Prem first. Then I want to see. Then I would want to give attention to, where's Gyokeres for the Golden Boot? Where's Saka for the assist? Is Timber in PFA Team of the Year? And are we getting enough clean sheets for David Raya? The collective comes first. Imagine that if we win the league, there's going to be some Arsenal fans arguing. We'll be in a picture that will be in Islington. The sun will be shining. If you don't drink, that's cool. If you do, bring your Henny, your Ray, whatever you want to do. We'll be waiting on the team bus, and there'll be some people sat there arguing, I have Arsenal Gyökeres. Like, bro, We don't need applause from people who want the worst for our club. Some people expect miracles overnight. Gyökeres needs time. Gyökeres has the same goals as Hugo, and everyone is not hugging Hugo. Shows perception, innit? I like Calafiori running in and going taking shots, bro. Calafiori is one unique player. And even that, yeah, I don't even think I've made a big deal of it enough. But when you deep it, yeah, Arteta is getting a lot. I mean, I'm not disingenuous in it because our fullbacks have always been quite attacking or central to how we attack the partnership with Ben White and Saka. Obviously, you know, Tini at one point, traditional fullback, probably more highlighted with Zinchenko introducing us to this inverted role and everybody who's been involved in that since. But I feel this season, or at least at this point, on a consistent basis, keyword from both fullbacks, I think I've seen a lot more from Arteta kind of using them to get a bit more like Timbers. Even Timber, I know you're right back and you're doing well, but I can't lie. Even you might need to even improve your finishing. Calafiori's a wild cannon. We know what Miles Lewis-Skelly gives us when he plays as well. I think he's getting a lot more, or there's a lot more of getting them to help us in the final third, if it makes sense. And there's still a lot of teething problems. Like, you know, we still got to get the best out of Gyökeres. Rice and Zubi are still obviously getting to know each other's game. You throw in an Eze there. That's 3 new midfielders trying to understand things. Yeah, man, I'm not expecting it to gel, but as I always say, I was really going to be quite critical on our attacking play 10, 11 games into the season, and we're approaching that. And in the last 3 games, Arteta, not that you're watching my vids, but you knew he was cutting it fine. I allow you for a bit. And with you, DG, Gyökeres looks like he's not up to speed with the pace of the Premier League. I think people are really overdoing it, especially being so early. He's not going to be the first or the last. I think with him, where I'm at with Gyökeres now, I think it's the speed of your decision making, but is what's making the difference now. Because sometimes, you know, you're taking one touch too many, you're pulling out wide too much, and that, unfortunately, there is that aspect. While we need to create for him, sometimes you might only get 2 moments in the game, and I think isolated to what you can control. I look at where you could have played Martinelli in against Olympiacos, couple, not as exaggerated, but a couple of moments against Newcastle. We was in a different kind of realm at that moment in time. But do you remember when he broke against Bilbao? I think Henry was a bit even harsh because I think Henry was spot on with his analysis. But then Henry does this thing, yeah, where he puts his coaching cap on, yeah, and he breaks down the game well, and he does it well. Big up the legend, and he makes sense. But then I think he then forgets that, bro, you know, not everyone's Thierry Henry, because he adds in some other analysis, like sprinkles on top of, like, you know, you're like, not every footballer can do that. But if you remember the break against Bilbao and it didn't come to nothing, they're the kind of moments, if I was in the part of the analytical department, if I was Gyökeres, it's that. And I really just put that down to the pace of the Prem. Like, it is the pace of the Prem. Like, you're not getting time. You need to know what you're doing 10 minutes before you get the ball. Maybe even to a degree, it sounds dumb and life's hypocritical because maybe you need to think a bit more, but also maybe you need to think a bit less in what you're doing in those decisions. Gyökeres only took the first one because Saka wasn't on the pitch, to be honest. Good point. Well, then, yeah, pecking order. He hasn't even played 10 games. What is all the fuss about? I mean, you knew what time it is with all the talk around strikers and Arsenal needing a forward. Gyökeres ain't going to escape this. He's not alone. Eze as well. You wait till, you know, right now, Gyökeres is... You would think he's the only person that signed for Arsenal and the only person connected to Arsenal and the only new summer signing. At some point, that's going to flip onto Eze, bro. Don't get it twisted. That is going to flip onto Eze. And Gyökeres isn't the first or the last. All you can do is shut people up. Nobody, and I'm not even talking about Arsenal fans, somewhere, but nobody's doing the David Raya stuff. Remember when the climate where David Raya signed for this club, or actually Ramsdale, or actually Benjamin White. Saka wasn't a new signing, but he's had to deal with this stuff. Martin Odegaard's had to deal with it. Zubamendi, there's been some extreme opinions, positively and negatively, about him. Mikel Marino's one. Kai's another one. Trossard and Martinelli's always whatever, you know. Madueke as well. So it's not necessarily even unique to Gyökeres. It just is what it is. Man, it's not hitting 20 plus if Saka is getting pens. Saka doesn't need it. Strikers are weird. I can't lie. Whoever the best penalty taker, take your pens, innit? You want your striker one in the pens, though. Good problems to have. I think we just need something to talk about. 100%. Exactly. How do people think Lamps became the highest scoring Premier League midfielder ever by being nice and giving the ball to someone else? I know it's not the same, but, and I like the fact that you're humble, Gyökeres, but bully man then, innit? Because I'll be real, I like to see that stuff. I know it's toxic, but I do like to see, obviously, adjusted. Like, man, have to win the game and stuff. But if you want the Prem bully, man, I know it's Saka's club. It's not Saka's club, but it's Saka's club. But Gyökeres, you think you can't scrap him? Do you think you can beat him up? Take the pen off him then. Do that. I want to see that. Noni Madueke ain't gonna. He's gonna act up at some point. Remember when he was doing it at Chelsea? Obviously, if we're losing or we're drawing and it's on knife edge, I'm not on it. But if we're in the driving seat and things are getting double, you man get vexed. Then I love that. I'm not a fan of as much as it's a kumbaya thing and it's a brotherhood and we're all together and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm with you with that at some point, bro. This is masculine shit, bro. This is Premier League. There's bare things on the line. I like to see that. Just make sure if you're doing all of that, you put the ball in the back of the net, which Saka, no worries. If you then hit the post, now I'm looking at you funny. DG Raves, yeah, bro. These men need 30 minutes of shooting practice, traded after practice. 100%, bro. Like Eze as well. It's not just Eze, but Eze, you're a fucking good footballer. I do think it's a bit weird. Keepers are turning into prime Neuer when you happen to shoot, but broski, ask Declan Rice. Because even though you was involved in Rice's goal, it felt like we did. Moments exaggeration, but the goal Rice scored against West Ham, Hammers, scored again. Let it go, man. Let it go, man. He's gone now. He's with us. But Eze had a similar incident, in it, and Eze, you're bloody good. You could score that. I need you to get them goals and assists. You should have 2 goals back to back in the Premier League. I'll be brutally honest, but that's what leads me to think. On one hand, Arteta, we can get more out of how we're playing in an attacking sense, but some of it is on the players now. The last 3 games, if you haven't created enough or converted enough, I think it's on the players. Prior to the 3 games, yeah, Arteta, we're moving the ball too slow. It's a bit U-shaped, the transition, all that kind of stuff. And it's above my pay grade. Don't know what Arteta's changed specifically. I couldn't tell you. But it's more of a case of I have the belief of these 3 games. Arteta's put you out there doing the best things in game, started the best team, clearly told you not to do something tactically. He's got you to the door. You don't have to push it open now, if that makes sense. So, yeah, man. He's being too nice. He's a nice lad. But Gyökeres, I think there's a bastard in there. I think there's a bastard. Like that, Henry was a bastard. Patrick Vieira was a bastard. Nobody. It feels like in the modern day, and I know he, we love Dennis Bergkamp. I think as a previous player said, I can't remember who said it, but Dennis Bergkamp was an absolute legend of a footballer, like a Bobby Dazzler. If he was playing in the snow, there'd be no footprints, as they said. But everybody kind of forgets. Even the Bergkamp was a bit nasty with it as well. He was nasty. No one remembers that. I need you to be a bit more nasty. I think there's a bit of a Diego Costa to come out in there, man. He's taking extra touch. He thinks he's got longer than he does. So yeah, man. That's something he's got to rectify in it. But I mean, it's been what I assume Gyökeres has signed a 4 or 5 year deal. It's been 7 games in the Prem. Obviously, we can only talk positively or negatively on what we see, but I'm not gonna write a man off now. I will say in May, though, if we're saying these same things, I'm on just sign another striker. You're part of the squad, you get opportunities. I'll just sign another striker. I'm good, Nems, man. I hope you're doing well and safe. Yeah, Bergkamp used to pinch, step on toes, all of that, bro. You've got to be horrible, man. Nice guys finish last. And it'd be nice. Like, imagine for defenders, they know Gyökeres is obviously a good player or whatever, but he's gonna pull your ear, and I don't want anyone to get hurt, but he's gonna elbow, he's gonna leave a late one. You're wary of this. You're wary of the teams used to remember when we had the good youth defense. How many times did Koscielny used to get batted up? How many times? Foolishness used to happen to him because he would allow it. Speaking of Odegaard's injury, though, people, I kind of skim read this, and this article provides 3 potential options of what we could do if obviously Odegaard's injury is worse than expected. Yeah, but this is said move Eze into a central role, which he's already there, and you'd imagine that's what we're gonna run with. Turn to Nwaneri, which, well, to be fair, of the 3 times Odegaard's come off in the last half an hour, 2 of them has been with Nwaneri, but again, 2 times has been with a different midfield to start with, and Zubamendi's been on the pitch. So that might tell you right now, if in an ideal world, maybe Mikel Arteta would still go Declan Rice, Zubamendi, Odegaard, and Eze might be on the bench or off the left. Give or take, that might be tied for number 1, because it could also be Eze, Odegaard, and one of Rice or Zubamendi. Then what did he go? He went with Eze, Rice, and Zubamendi, and then the climate, the football team right now, apologies, it might not be Nwaneri's time to shine, but there's enough games, bro. And even when you look at the run of fixtures, there might be the best option on paper might be to play Marino through the middle. It might be to go with Nwaneri and Eze centrally. It might be the best option to go with either or. It's a shame though, man. But where would you lot go? In fact, you know what? That's a good question to just simply ask you lot, if I'm honest. Where's the YouTube community tab? Man said community tab, the poll. Oh gosh, what's going on here? That's what we could do. Start a poll. Well, to be fair, player of the season so far, Timber's way out in front. In it, 78%, 79% of you went with Timber, 18% went Calafiori. Didn't think it'd be that much of a landslide. To be fair, 3% went with other. To be fair, I don't know who would be the other suggestions if I'm brutally honest. But what we can do is with Odegaard. Oh gosh, put the caps on. With Odegaard, what the hell? Out. Who do you play? Let's go. Eze, Nwaneri, Marino, flat midfield / other / Kai. Obviously, when Kai is fit. So yeah, take part in the voting, people. Interesting perspectives. Want to hear you lot's vote, you lot's opinions. If I'm completely honest, but it's an interesting one, and unfortunately, injuries are not unique to Arsenal. Us of all teams and fans, we should know that no matter how positive we want to be about a season, but we have to expect injuries. Like we have to expect them. I don't know what's wrong with our club, but we've got that. And it's a bit. Oh no! To be fair, what he took off. Oh, it's a shame for it's a because looking back, maybe you could have went Nwaneri, Eze, and obviously Rash. You maybe didn't have to bring on Zubimendi. It worked because Zubimendi worked a treat, but there is going to be scope for Nwaneri, man. Happy Monday, Carmen. Right back at you. Man said Egal was a 10. Why do you keep commenting that? Nwaneri has found minutes hard to come by since then. Just relax, man. He's going to play. I'm not really on the rekindle the Rice Marino partnership. It does work, but it doesn't work, man. It doesn't work. What's this article saying? Let's see the infographics rather than read the tosh. Eze versus Odegaard, Premier League stats per 90. Eze's last 2 PL games, Odegaard's last season. For shots, I mean, Eze's more likely to shoot. We know that one, like 3.33 versus 1.89. Shots on target, Eze averaged about 2 per 90. Odegaard's is 0.66. Expected goals 0.35 to 0.19. Obviously, Eze's a lot more prolific in front of goal. Chances created, Odegaard is somewhere in front in 2.44 versus Eze's 133. They both created different ways. I would say Odegaard's more gracious and creative. Eze's more chaotic. Like I would rather play. I'd be more scared if I was a defender of a direct threat that Eze posts. Odegaard's more likely to be the man that coordinates it, not necessarily going to get in the highlights. But we've got both of them against Olympiacos, and it's a shame for Odegaard, man, because your season's just been stop-start. For shots, chances created, big chances. He was first. Passes completed second. Ball recoveries, he was second. So it'd be interesting to see what we do. Where should Eze play as a left winger? He got no shots on target. His expected goals dropped. His chance creation dropped. His expected assists went up, however. Now, obviously, it's relative because it depends how many minutes you played in both roles and the dynamics. So it'd be interesting to see. On Gyökeres, keeping up the Gyökeres thing, Gary Lineker said, I also think that even though he's not banged loads of goals in yet, but he's got his fair share. Gyökeres, I think he gives them something different. He gives them a threat in behind, which creates more space for the midfield and even wide players, true. And he's aggressive with running and he likes to spin and he attacks the space in the box. We could do more to find him in that regards. The goals will come for him because with the service that I think he'll inevitably get, particularly now Saka is back in the mix and looks like his old self after his injury. So I think it's quite promising for Arsenal. I think we might be in this season for a really good title race. And you know what? If Gyokeres gets firing second half of the year and similar to Rice, then word to Wenger, it could be like a new signing. Mikel Arteta said, I just went there and hugged him and said thank you because the work that he does is unbelievable for the team. The way he stretches the back four and the spaces he opens. I mean, today, how he hasn't scored, I don't know. Trust. And they're starting to, the media, they're starting to get onto him, people. They're onto him, like, see all the articles coming out about Gyökeres. They're onto him. 10 games, 3 goals, assessing Gyökeres' start. He's played 90 minutes in 6 of Arsenal's opening 10 games, more than Arteta planned for. How do you know more than Arteta planned for? We're just assuming because Kai's not fit. We know Gyökeres is a win now signing. We know he never had a pre-season. Arteta has appreciated him. In all comps in the Premier League, he's had 3 shots. He's had 3 goals, 23 shots. Boy. And this is where we need him in this area. He's not going to shoot from outside the area, man. Why Gyökeres isn't fully firing for Arsenal just yet. Games 10, goals 3, 7 shots on target, 23 shots in total. Shot conversion rate of 13%. Expected goals 4.1. One penalty scored, minutes per goal, 251. The Gunners struggled to break down sides in a low block last season as they fell away in the title race. Yeah. Arsenal also crossing the ball more regularly to create more chances. One of Gyökeres' 3 goals this season came from the penalty spot, but that was when Saka had already been subbed in the 5-0 win. Arteta said Gyökeres is the best penalty taker at the club in an interview with ESPN Brazil, but it was Saka who took the spot kick in the win over West Ham when both were on the pitch, suggesting the England winger could be the first choice to take them this season. He also obviously he's made his 200th appearance in the Prem. I think Gyökeres is playing really, really well. There's no doubt he's going to score goals. What he's bringing to this team, us as teammates, we're so grateful for what he does, how he holds the ball up, how he makes the runs, the threat he gives us. He's a big part of the reason why we're winning these games. His goals will come. We know that. We believe that. And we believe in him. I don't think there's any doubts. He's still up. He's still happy. And he's still giving his best every game. That's one thing. I'm not seeing your head dropping. And away from the goals, which is what we care about, you're doing the right things. There is also the other world where you've got 10 in 10. And obviously, in many ways, on paper, I would prefer that. You've got 10 goals in 10. But we could see you scoring all those 10 games, and we would know in our hearts across 90 minutes you're not making the runs. The general play isn't there. You do look like an outsider. And at some point, those things would correlate. So I have to see. We're crossing the ball more often. I think it's all being blown out of proportion, man. I think it will click. You're not the first, nor will you be the last player that's been written off. I don't agree with the whole, I get it, but when people are like, oh my God, Thierry Henry took 11 games, I hear that. Gyökeres ain't Thierry Henry, bro. Like, I hear the premise, but like, stop using that one. Flamengo want to sign Arsenal striker Gabriel Jesus, but have no intention to meet the Gunners' asking price of 30 million. Jesus is open to leaving Arsenal as he wants to make the Brazil 2026 World Cup squad, people. Apparently in 2024, Gabriel Magalhaes had the possibility of going to PSG. However, Arsenal immediately told the Brazilian he was untouchable. He is now considered a really important part of the squad with his winning mentality. That was said by Fabrizio Romano. Let's make sure we're not missing anything. Saka's hit back at people who say he limps. It's part of it. I have blood on my hand. My nose is bleeding. My shorts are all blood. After they say that I'm limping. It's a compliment as a creative player, a winger that wants to dribble. You're going to get kicked. It's up to you. You have a choice. Do you get on with it or do you go down? I always make the decision to continue, and it's never going to stop. R.I.P. Billy Vinger as well. I agree with Jamie Carragher. If you're talking all-round midfielder, Declan Rice would just pip Caicedo for me. I think he's just got a little bit extra quality with the ball. 100%. That's Declan twice. Have manners. 2 incredible milestones for Bukayo Saka. 200 Premier League appearances, 100 goal contributions. I want to see how many of those goals came at left back, On the topic of Saka, people, this is said that we're even more optimistic that Saka will not only sign a new deal, but also in the coming days. Football Transfers exclusively reported in September that Saka's new contract was closed, and the expectation is that the details will be tidied up in a matter of days. Andrea Berta is eager to use the international break to complete the formalities and have the 24-year-old join William Saliba in signing a new contract with the club. And he'd probably be our top earner, or something's wrong, if I'm completely honest with you. Something would be incredibly wrong. Saka's back with England. Odegaard's been withdrawn. I just hope every Arsenal player that's off with their countries is wrapped in cotton wool. Eze, Rice, Saka, Miles Lewis-Skelly are all with the England squad. Nwaneri plays a couple more games. Madueke stays fit, and we'd have even more in that England squad, people. David Raya, Mikel Merino, and Zubamendi obviously there with Spain. I want to see how close Mascara is. I wonder, if I'm Christian Mascara, have Colombia qualified for next year's World Cup? Now, I don't know how he looks if he's of Colombian descent. He grew up in Spain, but if Spain are not bussing you, and you will get Spanish caps one day, but if Spain are not bussing you and Colombia get called up, are in the World Cup and things like that, do you go and do that? Out of everybody, I don't really care about the international break. I don't really care what these guys are doing. Of course, they score. I'm happy. My thing is, make sure you lot return in one piece. Smash the lights. Can we get to 50? Return in one piece. But if there is somebody I care about, Gyökeres, go get some goals for Sweden. Go and get some goals. Come back remembering yourself. Saliba's obviously going to be there with France. Timber, you wrap yourself in cotton wool. Norgard, I think you need the minutes for your country as well. I hope you actually play 90 minutes in both. Trossard, go do your thing with Belgium. Calafiori, you of all people, do not come back injured. Because you're the one. Because injuries are not good, but it really upset me if you get injured, because when you're here and you're fit, I think every player is this, but I think you're one of those players. You do need the continuity of staying fit. You're not really a plug in and plug out player. Like, some man can get injuries, they come back, it's like they were never there. I don't think you're one of them. Do not come back to my football club being injured. You don't upset me, Calafiori. You've done very well this year so far. Martinelli and Magalhaes, the same. I wish Nwaneri was in the first team. I'm not gonna lie. Big up Max Dowman, big up Kari Ransom, one of our goalies. Right, Jack Porter's been moved down. Ibrahim's in the under 18s England squad. Fair enough. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but what, Dowman can't skip the 2 levels. He's obviously skipped some levels already, but he went from 17s to 19s. He can't skip 19s to 21s. And then indirectly, he gives some other players an opportunity there. Come on, man, he should be playing for the under 21s. Apparently, Arsenal are eyeing PSG's Warren Zaire Emery. I'd love him. He could even, well, he can't play right back, but Enrique's played him right back. Don't want to give our manager ideas. I like him. I think this is complete lifestyle. Why would PSG sell him? I'd love to be proven wrong. He's French. We've obviously got French ties. I would love him. He's got potential to be great. But yeah, Arteta spoke on Calafiori's role in the team. A lot of dynamism, sometimes a bit chaotic. An Italian ball in a China shop. But I think his dynamism and the spaces and situations that he can create are very difficult to control for the opponent. Pardon me, especially against a team that is very well organized. And that is what I was saying earlier about the fullbacks. Because let's think about this logically. Obviously, we're good. We're structurally good off the ball. Half the teams, because everyone calls Arsenal defensive. No one considers that. Everybody wants Arsenal to come out the blocks firing. Who comes out the blocks firing against us 9 times out of 10? Nobody. Gyokeres is going to get marked. Saka's going to get doubled up against. Obviously, our players have to force the issue. And you saw Zubamendi feeding a number of good balls. But at the same time, if a team's set up in a certain way, of course, there's going to be U-shaped football because you're going to want to keep possession. So that's where I like it. Feels like for me, we're using Timber and Cali. Obviously, fullbacks have to be able to go forward. Our left back is more the inverted. So I'm not saying it's new, but I think on a more consistent basis, I'm seeing our fullbacks in the final third or in the box and more involved in all phases. I don't think Timber as consistently in the attacking phase was involved this year as much. I don't think White is ever with that. So yeah, man, I'm all for that. You have to disrupt their organization in order to create chances. And I think we've done that really well. So you lot do some finishing drills. There's no reason why you can't. For Timber, you could probably end the season with 5 goals. What has Bukayo Saka said about Gyokeres and etc.? He said the best is yet to come. It feels very good, but yes, knowing myself, I'm always hungry for more. But in these moments, I need to not take for granted, especially after being out with a few injuries over the last few months. I don't take these things for granted anymore, so I'm really happy with that milestone. I want to push on for more. Fair enough. And he spoke about Thierry Henry, said, I'm just really grateful to have that relationship because we all know who he is and what he's done in the game, especially for this club as well. I don't think there's anyone better to learn from. It's a pleasure. Every time I get to learn from him and get to listen to him and give me some advice. Sometimes you have to think twice. Is that really him? Now I'm starting to get used to it. He's really close to me. He's really pushing me and pushing the club. He wants us to win. He's also a fan, so that's nice. There's small sections of Arsenal fans on social media who talk a lot of nonsense. What has he said? He's spoken about the pen. No, when I grabbed the ball, I wanted to take it. So that was my thoughts at that moment. Fair enough. And what has he said here? He said, we'll keep our conversations in-house for now. I won't say much more. Gentlemen, fair enough. And we've gone over that. He's playing well stuff. So, yeah, that's that. What's this? Arsenal's defense in the Premier League. Joint fewest goals conceded. Most goal contributions by defenders. And these are I think these two are indirectly players of the season. I'm going to have to give you a lot of content. We are going to get a tactical analysis video on Timber and Calafiori and things of that ilk. Isaac 21. Bro, what Isaac is looking a bit scrubby at Liverpool. The only game Haaland hasn't scored in this year is the Spurs game, I swear. And the only ground he hasn't scored at is Anfield. I think Sky Sports said that yesterday, if I'm honest. Crazy striker. Haaland doing this by himself, carrying that City team. The one thing, this is a bit disingenuous. The one thing I would say with Haaland, if you go and look at that Brentford goal again, that's what I need from Gyokeres. Obviously, Gyokeres isn't Haaland, but he made it happen for himself. He had that defender because it was a nothing chance. You know, that Van den Berg, he's going to learn a lot. His body positioning's all wrong. Haaland's made a nuisance of himself. That was it. And anyone who watched that game, at least in the first half, it was even. To be fair, Brentford probably deserved a bit more from the game. But one moment, bang, gone. Not a glamorous goal by Haaland, but they all count. That's what he's there for. No, he literally doesn't. He's not getting 50 goals, getting involved in build-up play, holding the ball, all the stuff Haaland brings. City are the sleeper team this year. If the rest of their team patterns up, they could win the league. Anyone who is thinking City are not part of a title chase, they're moving mad. How's White not making a squad? Clearly not fit. And to be fair, if you're Tuchel's already like said he likes him and that. If a man's not really fit, you want to test others. And to be fair, if I'm Lewis Skelly, I'm looking like what's going on because Reece James has come out this side. That O'Reilly guy, another inverted left back at City's been called up. You know, Lewis Hall's not there, but you got Lewis Hall, You've got Lewis Hall. You've got Livramento if he's fit. You've got my man that I just mentioned, Marcel Lewis Kelly. Got to look over, boy, as it should be. You know that you're gonna select the best for your country, innit? Gyökeres is a gun, man. He shoots, but that what we need. We don't need a dribbler. We have those already last year. Problem with shooting. Let it go, man. Let it go, then. Let it go. If he goes back to Rise, Zuba, Merino midfield fan base going to meltdown, I'm not on it at all, man. It'll be Rise, Zubi, Eze. I think he may do the midfield, Merino midfield gimmick again. He will, but Gaffer, it's not the right time, man. Not that I know anything compared to the Gaffer, but come on, man. Rise, Zubi, Merino, double pivot, Eze, Nwaneri in the 10. I hear it. Cal as a player, man. Guaranteed Arteta switches to a double pivot now that Odegaard's out. My thing with Arteta is I think he's going to run what we're seeing and what we're happy with. And then, unfortunately, whether we lose or when it goes left, that's when I think he's going to revert back to type. Be interesting to see if Kai, when Kai's fit, how this all works out. Play Dauman and Nwaneri more to take advantage of Odegaard's absence. I'll take Nwaneri. Will Arteta start Ethan, though? Don't think so. He's going to have to at some point. You're going to have to box clever because the games are coming thick and fast. He's played a lot of games already in all comps. They're about to divide what? Odegaard's injured, so he might not have 90 minutes. He might not be back anytime soon. Kai is not going to be as fully fit. Marino's now probably going to go play some games for Spain. Eze is going to get minutes, and every night 60, 70, 80, 90 minutes, it is what it is. Like, you're going to have to box clever, bro. There's a lot of games. Some the ones who start might have to get subbed. Again, even looking, the best option on paper, I couldn't tell you, but the guy that might be the best option to fill Odegaard's role against Fulham might not necessarily be the guy who would be the best option against Atletico or Crystal Palace. So you're going to have to box clever. Pardon me, Fulham away, I'm going with Eze. Atletico Madrid, I'm going with Eze. Yeah. Crystal Palace, I'm going with Eze. But a part of me for Palace, because Glasny is an overthinker, like Arteta, I want to throw a spanner in the works. I probably, for that game, I might put Eze out wide and then, Nwaneri in the 10. Nwaneri's probably going to, surely going to start in the League Cup game in that role against Brighton. Burnley away, I think that's a Merino. Even Atletico Madrid, that might even be a Merino in midfield. So this is why we've got depth, no? Going to have to make it count. It is what it is. And unfortunately, this is how people get chances. And if you're Nwaneri, take your opportunities. Gyokeres has to adjust to this game, and he could be the new Dennis Bergkamp if he adapts. I think he's more likely to be the next Thierry Henry than Dennis Bergkamp. He's not got a creative bone in his body like that to talk to Dennis. Ex-pros talk about him having proper needle. Exactly, bro. Dennis Bergkamp. There's a lot of, even in today's game, there's a lot of guys that I think have that nasty edge, but obviously they're not shit houses. They're not making it obvious, so they kind of quote unquote get away with it. People don't see it from every now and again. Saka lets the mask slip. Saka's got it in him. Gyokeres, we're gonna get that out of you. There's a beast in you. So we're judging strikers on their goals again now, as they should. Where is Gyokeres? Arsenal's been looking for Gyokeres. That's cool, but Gyokeres has got 3 goals. Where's Florian Wirtz? Why is your manager playing Szoboszlai right back and Frimpong right wing? Frimpong shit as well. Black Beyblade. Like, fam. Headband you. Please. Why is Van Dijk moving like Cardi B? Like, at least you lot say he's a generational centre back and all these kind of things. Say what you want. You can say what you want about Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, Mascara, any one of my defenders, even the defenders that were shit at this team, Mustafi, he weren't shit, but David Luiz, Pablo Mari, who I've got no sympathy for. I have never seen them literally push out their batty to try and defend. To say what you want about them. I thought this was a football thing. I didn't know Van Dijk was a video vixen. He's got long hair. Again, I don't know. Brown skin in that. I'm sure she's a whore. He's a Bedino. You lot are not winning this league ahead of us. We can't lose to Bedinas. He ran away, but that's why man don't get dribble past. Oh my God, I'm Van Dijk. Why won't you stop? I am handsome. Don't let go past me. He just, dead. Ever try to convince me he gets into the Premier League all-time 11? Fuck off, Bambadino, man. Bad B. He's probably at Freedom Street. It's all entertainment, man. You started foolishness. Nobody's talking to Haaland. Haaland's the best number 9, out and out number 9 in world football for me. He's unfortunate, man. Like Haaland, I don't think you're ever gonna get your flowers. Obviously, people recognize what you do. You score stupid goals, and you'll always get that. But then you know the idiots, like he's not aesthetically pleasing. He's a general player, and blah, 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 blah. Like, bro, he is the only new age modern number 9. Like, cerebral. Don't get me started on Gyökeres. He even fooled me. I was screaming he's decent. He fooled me. He fooled me. Or maybe it's not. It's all entertainment. Van Disney, you know. My centre backs cut their hair, but we're not here for fashion statements. And the youths with long hair in my team, they're when you move like Calafiori, you can have long hair. When you're a baller like Eze, you can have long hair. No one else ain't got long hair in this Arsenal team, innit? Eze, probably Max Dowman. When you're 15 doing this thing, you can have long hair. Calafiori, Eze. Noni is cool. Just make sure you score. You're doing your thing. You can have long hair. That's about it, isn't it? They ain't no. It's all entertainment. Don't cry, man. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. We're doing the youths, but on that though, people, there's no point keeping you. I will say this though. At 4 p.m., I'm gonna have Shirley. It's a time for me to shut up and to hear her thoughts. So yeah, appreciate the banter. Appreciate the talking points. Make sure you check out the rest of the content. You know, I've always got you lot covered, whether it's an international break or not. So yeah, man, we'll link up soon.
I think it's like